Howdy, you already know who it is, Paulie J, your boy. Yeah, I'm just letting you know that we sit down today with John and Bud, just hanging out, talking about music. We also cover where we've been and how we got to where we are. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I hope you enjoy and ignore the beginning because it's just a little riffraff, but we eventually get into it. Be patient with me, please. All right, I'm out. A peace.
You get to start
All
harmonizing.
right.
I got to warn you, John doesn't know how to
Check,
harmonize.
check. All right. All right. Let me see. See if I got any music from I got some music from last night that I was really impressed by.
Nothing we did though.
Let's see.
It's not old time country and old time rock and stuff like that, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let me find one.
Yeah, the Doors.
This was one last night. The
Bread. Oh,
nah.
yeah.
Oh, the Wizard of Oz. Here we go.
This was Black Bottom Stomp by Jelly Roll Morton.
Yep.
Yeah, we got everything on here, bud. I can play whatever now.
Got Bob Dylan.
He can't sing.
This sounds like something out of the 30s. They're getting ready to play a silent film, up on the screen. Heaven's Door is the only song I know by Bob Dylan.
What?
Heard it. Oh, I can really. Bob Dylan only do one song. Well, I used to do another one that was called, I can't remember. It was a long one. Uh-oh. The hesitator's through.
We got Bud standing up now.
If I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we could only lose. Wow, this is sensitive. Funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Those days are gone. I can do this.
Air guitar for those that cannot see. That's what we got Bud doing. All right.
Thank you. Good song.
So we are over Bud's, and I'm gonna introduce myself and then pass it to whoever goes on second. I am the host for the evening, Paulie J. I don't know, Mr. Jones. And we are here with two very special guests, some awesome friends. Let's go with Bud. Want to introduce yourself?
Mr. Pauly, my name's Bud Light, alias Floyd, alias Floyd. Beep, 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 beep. How any mother could take a little boy and look at him holding that baby in their arms and name it Floyd. Beyond me, but they did. So later on I was changed to Bud. I'm an old hippie. I've lived all over the world. I've seen every kind of culture there is, and I've loved them all.
Amen.
I get along with anybody, everybody, always.
I can see that.
That's the way Mama raised me.
It's kind of like a survival technique, like once you move around so many places, you like adapt real fast.
Hey, I even made friends with John.
Yeah, even though I'm management.
He can't help it. He doesn't come by it honestly. He's always been management. That's okay. I turn it over to John. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, John.
This is John,
Beep, beep, beep.
sometimes called Jake for just the initials JK. And just an old timer, been around for quite a few years and experienced a lot of different things. Hang around with Bud for quite a few years here, living up in these apartments, and then we met Paul, and kind of sucked him into this triage of insanity.
I still don't understand how you can sit here with these two guys and take it. Go ahead.
Oh, it's a lifestyle. Like you said, just getting along with people, and I don't know, you just get used to, I guess, attracting the same kind of personalities over the years or whatnot. I guess we could start with places we lived or our favorite places we lived.
Okay, well, I was born in Syracuse, New York, and at a very young age moved to Peoria, Illinois, and then to Evergreen Park, Illinois. Lived in Evergreen Park for about 12 years, and then family moved out into the western suburbs of Chicago. And from there I went off to college after graduating from high school, and went to a small Christian college down in Eureka, Illinois. It's best known for Ronald Reagan being part of that school, and was a fraternity, Tau Kappa Epsilon, which Ronald Reagan was part of that fraternity too. He was many years before me, but it was interesting. And from there went back up into the Chicago area and ended up working for Armor Pharmaceutical in Kankakee, Illinois. I called myself a toxopathanolist. What that was I worked in the toxicology and pathology department, testing new potential drugs on animals to make sure that they would be safe for humans.
I tested a few of those drugs too. Go ahead.
Yeah, you tested all. You would have been down in the room trying to figure out how big a hit does this have. So did that, and then my boss and I didn't really get along real well, so I left there after a couple of years and went to work for a food company food and spice company up in downtown Chicago. Became foreman in the hydrolysate plant. Hydrolysates are where you reduce grain using hydrochloric acid, neutralize it, cook it, and then neutralize it with caustic soda, and makes high protein powders, which are used as flavoring agents in many things, and more commonly probably known as bouillon paste or bouillon cubes. That's a lot of things they would use it for.
Thanks for that nice layman term.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy.
Got promoted from there to becoming a production supervisor at a soy protein plant down in a small town, Indiana, called Remington, Indiana, and worked there for quite a while, and then became a layoff because they just were cutting back, and so I ended up working for General Foods, making dog food and all kinds of other things, that ending up doing Jell-O and stovetop and oven fry and all those little things that came out of General Foods in those days. And then when that plant closed down because the crazy union shut the place down,
Shots fired.
that
Over our heads.
that well, after 2 strikes in about 6 years, the headquarters finally said enough's enough, and I went from there to a plastics company making food containers. Did that as quality manager and stuff, and then ran a plant for them in Phoenix, Arizona, and then about getting close to retirement age, I moved up to Oregon. Came up here to be closer to a daughter, and then ended up working for making cheesecakes at a cheesecake factory. And then from there went to another plastics company in Washougal, Washington. Left there and built a house and just been messing around ever since.
Are you done?
No.
He didn't ask you for your life's history, boy.
Yeah, he did.
We got time, though. It's all good.
He said, "Where'd you go? What'd you do? Where'd you live?"
Finally figured out this mic, though. So
Oh. Bud Light here. Look, I don't remember being born.
he's crazy.
The only thing I remember was all of a sudden some
Right.
lady said, "Hey, hold this microphone and see if you can sing." And I did, and I could. Well, if you can sing, that means you can play a piano. Well, I tried it, and it worked out okay. Well, yeah, but you need to do schoolwork. Huh? What's that? I became a musician instead of working hard in school. Terrible thing to admit, but that's what I did. I've been a musician ever since I can remember. And not sorry for it, because I still love music. Any kind of music. Well, almost. Any kind of music. Love playing.
But he's mad at me because I won't manage his group.
I've tried everything I can to get this guy to be our manager for our trio, and he will not budge.
I done being a manager.
Yeah, well, this is different. This ain't quite the
Talk
same.
about it.
Okay, I'll quit. I'll leave you alone, John.
No, I did go to a show and tried to get the song list, and Bud quickly took it back. I'm trying to see if I'll try to find that set list. It was pretty awesome in hearing the Johnny Cash songs redone. Was the most legit part, to be honest.
At my age, if I don't have that list in front of me, it's not there. On paper, I mean, I got to have a working list. It's got to be within my grasp. That's what musicians have to have at our age.
I like the Ring of Fire. That was a good rendition.
Yeah, I wish Pinky was here. He'd be playing background music right now through this whole thing.
That'd be dope. Oh, the Honky Tonk Angel. That was a good song. Knocking on Heaven's Door. That was a good song.
I love that song.
I could play these. Let's play
Oh,
these.
man, that's a great song. It's got some heavy words to it.
Which one? Honky Tonk Angel?
Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah.
A lot of people knock on Heaven's door.
Amen. Like, this is the moment when my phone starts to be slow. Like, never it's slow here, and then all of a sudden it is. Hey, is that by R-A-I-G-N or Guns N' Roses? Let's go to Guns N' Roses. Oh, or Bob Dylan.
I remember Guns N' Roses.
I think it was a Bob Dylan one originally.
My boy went to school with Axl Rose.
For real?
For
Really?
real, Lafayette, Indiana.
Wow.
I didn't know he was Lafayette.
There's
I
some,
know he was Indiana.
there's some talent.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
It's not playing. Let me see. Kind of, it's short but straight to the point.
Well, a lot of meaning to it. Just it is a lot of deep thoughts there. I think. Oh well.
Hey, Bud, you gonna tell them all the places you lived?
Okay, my father was in the Air Force. First place I can remember living was, oh my goodness, Nome, Alaska,
What?
Fairbanks, Alaska. And then we moved to Tennessee. And then he got orders for England. And we lived in Manston Air Force Base, England for 4 years. I learned how to talk like that. I did. I came back from
He loves doing
Came
that.
back from the country talking like that, my mom said. That's what she told me. Anyway, after 4 years there, we moved back to Florida, Tampa Bay. Then we moved to Bunker Hill Air Force Base, Indiana, just outside of Peru, close to where you were, John. And then moved to Kinchlow Air Force Base up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for 4 years. And then we moved to Tennessee, and then to Lockbourne Air Force Base, Ohio. That's just outside of Columbus. There, my father finally retired, and we moved out here at 68. Been here ever since. A couple of years in the Army. Other than that, I've been halfway around the world. I've seen a few cultures. It's a very big world we live in.
These are facts.
It is full of talent and good people. I've found more good people than bad. What can I say?
That's really yeah, I want to highlight that because that's really like something that doesn't get talked about enough. The fact that yeah, there's a lot of like bad going on, but at the same time, personally, I feel like I've met more positive and good people. Like the majority of humans are like pretty decent people for the most part, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Even John.
Even me. Even on management.
That's dope. I didn't know you lived in Alaska though. I would love to go to Alaska.
Yeah. Lived there for a couple of years. I think I was about 3 or 4 years old. I don't remember much, but we lived there.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and I decided to go back there in, what was it, 1995. She wanted to see if there was anything still in Nome that was still there from 1950s. Well, I'm here to tell you, not a thing had changed. Every other establishment was a bar. And all the houses are built on wood stilts.
Yeah.
Why?
It's so cold.
Cold. Big permafrost.
Yeah, John knows more about that than I do. I just
Perm-
remember what it looked
Yeah,
like.
break it down, please.
Permafrost.
Oh, man.
That the ground is constantly pretty much frozen, and then it thaws in the spring for a little bit, and it does all kinds of strange things if you put a foundation on it.
Oh, gotcha. So
That's-
it could buckle.
Yeah, because the ground, if you dig down a little bit, the surface will be mushy, but then you dig down and you hit frozen ground. It never thaws out. It's called permafrost.
John is an encyclopedia.
Yeah, right.
If you didn't know.
He's deep.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Nome. My mother found 2 rentals that we lived in there in 1955. Still there. Still look the same. One main street, a couple of side streets, and that's it still. You could go any direction you wanted except out to the Bering Sea. And you're out in the woods completely alone within 2 miles. Nothing out there but animals and you. That's how desolate it was. Beautiful place. I loved it.
That'd be interesting to see. Alaska and Hawaii. There aren't too many places. There aren't too many states I haven't been to at this point.
They call it the last frontier, Alaska. And I believed it when I was there.
Is that because we bought it last though?
It's because it's,
The Last Frontier?
I thought it was the last frontier because we bought it last.
well, maybe it was.
I don't know. Don't quote me.
Define frontier for us, John.
Right.
Well, I think it's so, you know,
Let me look it up too.
so barren that probably, you know, that. But it didn't. It got bought up by Seward back in the 1860s, and then it didn't become a state till 1960. I think Hawaii was before Alaska. One was 59 and one was 60.
What about you, Mr.
The
Paul?
distance.
I'm kind of curious about your travels. Always have been.
That's
Both
a-
John and I have always been curious about
For real?
how you grew up, where you went.
That is funny.
How did you ever end up in this place?
Since you've been in Paris and New Zealand and other assorted places.
Yes, I'm a traveler. Traveler by heart. Or at heart. And I feel like mostly genetically a traveler. But Alaska, admitted as the 49th state to the Union, is thought of as America's last frontier because of its distance from the lower 48 states and because of its rugged landscape and climate. So I think we're right at some kind of sort of all right.
It's the 49th state, and Hawaii was the 50th then.
Yeah, which is kind of that's wild to hear. Like we got Alaska, and it was like in the middle of nowhere.
So what were the last two states before then, and what year? No, off the top of your head, man.
Oh, off the top of my head,
The last two states that were admitted to the Union in what year?
I would assume California, Florida.
Arizona, New Mexico, 1912.
What?
Let me write that down.
Write that down in your book.
That's okay. John's used to it. Paul's not.
So we bought it from,
No, we didn't buy it.
or we took it from the Mexico War.
Yeah, it all got territorial when the Mexican War. Yeah, when the Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, Lower California, all that stuff kind of became part of the United States.
Is that is that related to the Alamo?
That time period, yeah.
Okay.
1830s,
All right.
1840s.
And then I was going to say that it's funny y'all say that because when I was doing my interview in Indy, my family kept asking me questions, and I was like, dang, as an interviewer, I try to like stay on that end of that side of the interview as an interviewer and not an interviewee, but I'm willing to indulge, of course. So I just thought that was funny that I just did an interview.
You still got to
and people
explain
was
where
like,
the hell you've been.
yeah. Okay, so growing up, we lived at like a whole bunch of different places. So I went to like 3 elementary schools, and 1 middle school. Then I went to 3 high schools. But I bounced around all of Indianapolis, and after Indianapolis, I went up to Muncie to live, and kind of stayed there, like back and forth. Or I wouldn't say back and forth. I went back to India a couple times, but mostly the last like 10 years of that was in Muncie, Indiana for school. And within that time, I also did a year in Kentucky, and I did close to a year in Delaware. But I traveled. I've been to Delaware every year for the past 20 years, and I would say I probably only missed 3 years out of those 20 years.
He goes back to see Uncle Joe Biden.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good one. So yeah, Delaware is like literally like my second home, and I would say the same thing for Muncie, Indiana. And then where else? Oh, how did I get here? I got here because my cousin moved here about 7-8 years ago. And when he first moved out here, I traveled and came to visit him just about every year, if not every other year. So I've been here like a lot of times, like half a dozen times already, and I had loved the scenery, and I loved like the vibe people were giving, and it would always remind me of New Zealand, and it also felt like a mecca for millennials. That's what I noticed also. Like it felt like my generation was like heavy here, or like a lot of my generation lived here. So when I finally got the opportunity, um, I was still in Indianapolis, but my dad had passed, and I was like, I just can't really do this. So I was doing independent contracting with outreach in the community and with non for profits.
Really?
Yeah, and I was also concurrently doing maintenance at a nursing home. So I was like, this is not what it's cracked up to be. And then I moved out here, change of scenery, and I don't know. I just kind of just been out here. They hired me from across the country. Drove those 3 days with all my stuff, like Beverly Hillbillies. All my stuff was just like packed cram, so I didn't really have.
So you had a cement pond too?
But as far as traveling, that's a different story. Traveling, goodness, I got that bug early. From my dad, I would say he would travel a lot and get us to started going to Delaware like in 5th grade, and then from there, man, I would go to Delaware a lot, like buy my own tickets and stuff, and man, it just started like early, like going to family reunions and going to see just random stuff. And then when I was able to drive, it was a whole different story. Like then I could really venture off, like taking my little cousins to Tennessee, driving to see family in Illinois. I've been to, man,
Europe?
probably like 25 states.
You ever been to Europe at all?
Yeah. I've been to Paris.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's one of my goals this year is to go to Nice, France, which is southern France. Way slower pace than Paris, but still, you can still travel.
Slower than Georgia?
Probably the same.
Really?
Well, outside of Atlanta, probably the same pace as like a southern type of state. Beautiful climate though. I don't know. I just really want to go there. Southern France is cheap or more affordable than other places and touristy. I don't know. Kind of want to check it out. That's where I want to retire. So that's also why I'm going to now, as opposed to in the future. I would just love to keep going there. Also want to go to Africa this year. Definitely going to Canada this year, and then another goal is to go see my family in Louisiana and Alabama. That's just what I would do.
Got family all over the United States, don't you?
That's really been
You're
it.
lucky.
You got that much vacation?
It accumulates fast. But I don't know. I guess I kind of like maneuver different because I'm off like Friday, Saturday. So if I could do this full time, I definitely would just travel like a vagabond and just interview people. That'd be awesome. But I kind of cheat with my days off.
Well, you don't want to get everything done in 1 year. You got to have a little something for the next year,
Yeah. I just attacked so much of my bucket list early on in life and with school and traveling and jobs. I've had easily 30, 35 jobs. I've lived in 20, 25 addresses. So it's like after you live such a nomadic lifestyle.
They're going to catch up with you one of these days.
Yeah, I got to find a wife that's like, nah, let's just settle. So like a wife that is like consistent, like that's used to having some stability in her life. So opposites attract.
Your interview of your woman is going to be what size suitcase you got.
Yeah, she definitely got to travel. You know what I mean? My mom. That's funny. My mom said that she's like, I expect you to have a family, but that still not stop you traveling. I'm like, that's hilarious. So yeah, definitely need a wife that wants to travel, but also has ample experience in stability because my life been all over the place
I like that.
for sure.
There's some women out there, man. There's some very good ladies out there.
I would agree with that. Would definitely. Yeah.
So if you
So I love traveling. It
so
won't
you-
stop.
You're gonna go around. You want to get to Africa and places. Do you worry about the world being kind of crazy?
As far as like pandemic wise, or as far as like World War III.
Everybody fighting and the scary things that are out there.
Something was going on when I went to New Zealand. That was end of 2014, top of 2015, and I remember getting an email from like the embassy, and they were like, "All Americans traveling, be careful," or something like that. I don't remember what was happening though.
There was something going on in Guam somewhere along the way.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I remember getting that email and I was just like, wait. That's when it hit me like, oh, like this is real.
Well,
like going to a different country is really like
oh yeah. When I'm the old fart in this whole group, and I mean there's a lot of things that go on crazy now, but when I was a kid, the thing that was the scary part of the world for kids was polio. And people don't today realize how traumatic it was and how nervous parents were about their kid getting polio. I mean, people were aware of that President Roosevelt had polio and he was crippled. But there were a lot of kids dying, a lot of people getting it, iron lungs and stuff. And I can remember being put in the back seat with another kid, his dad and my dad and a doctor who was the brother of the one guy, putting us in the back seat of an old, it was Dodge or Chrysler, but it had the plaid upholstery of those
I
days.
think there's a truck going by.
your air
Stopped.
or heat.
Kid had us hide down. It was a Sunday afternoon, and took us to the doctor's office and snuck us in the back door so we could get our polio shot.
What?
Because people were desperate to get that, and the vaccine had just come out, and this Dr. Sittler was able to get the vaccine, and so Donnie and I were snuck in the back door and given our shots for polio vaccine.
That's so different than now, where you think about like, I guess the ample amount of vaccines that exist now with COVID. I mean, that's what I liken it to. Like, so to hear like having to sneak and get one, you know what I mean, compared to now where they're like, no, take it, everybody take it, you know what I mean?
Well, everybody was going to take it eventually, but
We need to take a pause so we can let that train go by.
so
How
that
long
was-
ago?
You hear it?
Not bothering me.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not bothering me. It's just that it's there.
I know I can hear it too. I mean, it's your heat, so it's up to you. I mean,
He's a train man, and he's bothered by the train sound.
right?
Well, you know how I feel about trains.
You're a UPer.
Fear them.
Oh, and to answer your question, if things were still crazy, I would still be a traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So anyway, yeah, back then it was a very scary thing, and it was about 1955, 54, 55 when that vaccine finally hit.
I remember getting my first one, John. It wasn't a vaccine. It was a sugar cube.
You got
for
this.
polio.
You got the second site. There was Sabin and there was Salk,
Okay.
and the one was on a oral, and the other was a shot. So yeah, I got the shot. And then when I was in college, I got the oral.
Wait, so what was the iron lung?
The iron lung is a contraption that they would put you in that would breathe for you because polio paralyzes the muscles.
Kind of like a leech.
And the paralysis could hit you in your legs, could hit you anywhere on your body,
Jeez.
but paralyzed your muscles, polio. And there were people that got it, and it paralyzed their diaphragms and their muscles, and they couldn't breathe. So this was a mechanical device that would look like it was a big tube. They stuck you in it, your head stuck out, and you had a mirror. You laid on your back, and you had a mirror up above you. so that
Mirrors
you
on the
could see-
ceiling. I like it. Go
So
on.
you could see,
More.
so you could see what was going on around you, and that's where you lived in that iron lung.
Jeez, so it was like Boy in a Plastic Bubble, that movie.
Oh yeah,
I
this is
remember.
worse. This was worse.
Pink
Dang.
champagne on ice.
Oh, because he breathed on his own still, but
Hey, if you look up iron lung, it was horrendous. It was very,
Welcome to
very
the
horrendous.
Hotel California.
I'm still looking for the
Such
events
a lovely place. Such a
events that took place, but
Did you find
that sounds insane.
Find it on your magic phone.
Always. I love having this, but I still. It's nice to have the tool of the phone, but you still got to know how to use it.
Well, yeah,
Definitely learn that.
but it can be used to overwhelm you too. I mean, I got a friend that's uses it all the time, writes his music and does all kinds of things with it. But he said sometimes it's just too much. He went to some restaurant. He said you couldn't even get a menu. If everything you had to hit the app thing and it'd be on your phone, and then you had to order through your phone, and you had to do this stuff. You couldn't even.
They got phones that do that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you scan the code,
Yeah, scan the code, pops up, that
and it goes to their menu.
goes to their menu, and then you got to do that with your phone, and then you got to, it just gets too. I mean, it just takes everything takes all the interface from you. You don't get to talk to a person. You're talking to a machine,
I hate that.
Me too.
and that's.
You get email, John? I don't get email.
I have to go to the library to get it because I don't have a computer.
I don't have a computer either.
I have a flip phone.
It's hard to believe that the three people in this room still were a lot alike.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 don't even use a computer.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
That blows my mind. That
I
y'all live
use
like
it. I
that.
go to the library if I need to do it. I run into people and they, I say, well, I got, I don't have one of those phones. Can you do something for me? And I said, all I got's a flip phone. And they go, that's it. I said, yeah, no computer, no, how do you do that?
How do you live?
How do you do that? How do you live? I said, it's easy. You just don't buy one and you don't, you just don't have it. You don't need it. Do you really need it? Is it?
It's like taking your phone's like taking your home with you away from home.
It's a drug.
It's an addiction.
It's a drug.
Put your mic up.
We can go on and on. We better quit.
I mean, I worked, my jobs were 24/7. So I was always on a phone, always had a phone with me, and always a computer at work. But 24/7, that means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I could get a phone call or I'd be at work. And I did that for 35 years. And when I got done with that, I said, I don't want all this. I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't want it. I've been there, done that. It's not going to control my life anymore.
I need that.
That's pretty much the way I felt about the UP Railroad. I was always on call.
Yeah.
Go out on the road. And Floyd, we need you to go out on the OMN. Okay. It's like, that's how you got your job.
What is
Called you for your job, for your work.
uh, and
Got on a train in Portland and went all the way to Hinkle.
and that's like an interface, or that's like a base OMN. You said.
We just had a run of 88 miles from Portland to
He wants to know.
Hermiston.
He wants to know what OMN means.
Oh, that's Oregon Mail North.
Yeah, what's that call? What? Why that call name?
Why that call name? Oregon Mail North? Because from all over the state of Oregon, they would go to the UP terminal, and UPS and all the other U.S. mail would put their mail on the OMN because we were so fast. Faster than a plane, if you can believe that.
Nah, I was watching flights and stuff at BWI. They have like a gallery that you can watch, and man, those planes are fast. Like just watching them take off and land, you don't really think about it when you're on them, but seeing them,
I know.
Well, they're one right after the other. If you're if you're at a real busy airport, yeah, there's X number of minutes, seconds between each coming in. You know.
And when you're in the air, you don't even see other planes. That's the creepy part. So much.
Well, if you do,
you're in trouble.
it's either too late or you're very nervous about it.
Yeah. It's one of the only sites. It's one of the very few sites that are as majestic in the light as it is during the nighttime. Like there's very few things that you want to see at night and in the dark to experience, and watching those planes take off and land is
Very true.
up there for sure.
You need to get on the train and go up through the gulch, up through the gorge, all the way through the gorge, and see what scenery is like on a train.
What was that Switzerland one that we were looking at? Remember? That's the one I want to go on.
It's fun.
The one with the clear top. And,
Oh, yeah. Overhead, no overhead, just all
yeah.
glass.
I forgot what that was called. Viewscape or something?
Observation.
Yeah, it was like observation.
Observation car, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So Bubba goes to the airport, puts Mama on the airplane. She's flying out of Atlanta, and she's going to Houston, Texas. And so Bubba, he's interested, and he says, "What time's plane take off?" Asks the clerk there at the front. It says 7:00. He says, "What time's the plane get? What time's it arrive?" 7:00. And Bubba says, "Okay." He comes back about 5 minutes later and says, "What time do you say that plane?" He says, "I know plane takes off 7." She says, "What time does it get there?" He says, 7:00. Comes back about 5 minutes later, got 7 and 7. Guy says, "Yeah." He says, "Is there something I can help you?" He says, "No, but what runway is it going to take off? I really want to see that sucker take off." Well, he's going from Eastern time to Central time, so it lands at the exact same time as it took off. 1 hour flight.
That is so petty. Oh man, you're crazy in here.
Hey, you know what's really nice about this sitting down and doing this recording here
What's that?
is all three of us have lived in Indiana.
Wow.
All three of us come from somewhere else, and we all moved here, and here we are. It's, I've told many a person this. This is a giant melting pot, state of Oregon. It really is.
It is.
And this is where good people come, not just bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
The good ones come here too. We're living proof of that. Anyway, that's my parting shot. Thank you.
No, I agree with you. How serendipitous is that? I mean, like just the probability of that happening is insane.
Not just somewhere in Indiana, but all central Indiana.
Yeah.
Indianapolis, Muncie, Peru, Lafayette.
Yeah.
That's your center of Lafayette or of Indiana.
Yeah, your core population.
That's a 60-mile, Indy to Muncie's about 30 miles.
There's still good people there. And
No, they haven't all moved out.
No.
It's very different cultures and very different landscapes. I would say the biggest difference that I tell people is the landscape is the biggest difference you'll notice.
We're
at first.
flatlanders.
Yeah,
We're flatlanders.
like there isn't a place in Oregon that is just flat in as far as the eye can see.
They have 4 seasons in Indiana, and I like that.
Same.
We don't have that here.
Nah.
We got wet and dry.
There it is.
Right?
Blue and gray.
Yeah. I don't like that. Definitely don't like that at all.
You adjust to it.
Yeah. It's hard too.
It's tough.
The rain is definitely the hardest part about living here. And not even actually no, I take that back. I was told by by a friend that it isn't necessarily the rain, it's more so the lack of sun. And I have to agree with that. Where it's not necessarily the conditions, it's more so like the lack of sun is just so rough.
And that affects a lot of people.
It does.
There's actually a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but they have special lights that you can put in your house to simulate the sunshine, the natural light, so that you don't get this depression from it being just gray all the time.
Oh, seasonal depression.
Yeah, it's a seasonal disorder.
And how many times have you two gentlemen been asked this question? Do you have webbed feet yet? Webbed feet. That's from living in this part of the world so long that you have webbed feet. It's from the water.
It reminds me of Office Space, where he's like, "No, man, them fighting words."
People don't understand that New Orleans, Louisiana gets more rain than Portland, Oregon.
Oh, definitely.
It's just they get it all at once in a lot of, and we get it spread out over time.
That's incredible to hear. It makes sense too, though. And they are, never mind. We're talking about Alaska, but I was gonna say they're also on stilts, but
Yeah, they're on stilts and they bury their dead on top of the ground.
Oh, I heard.
Otherwise, they pop out.
I didn't get to interview my grandparents, but they were telling me how. Or wait, was that y'all telling me that about the how they bury people?
Wasn't me.
Because it's so hot inside the tombs.
The reason I've always been told is that they bury them above is because the ground's so damn wet.
Yeah, but
It's
okay, so
swampland.
well, I'll take that back about my grandparents and y'all. I don't know who told me this. I can't remember who told me this then. It was that in the tombs, they get so hot that the bodies like disintegrate inside.
They do that anyway, but they may do it at a faster rate.
Yeah, but then I don't know who told me this. I wish I could like fact check them, or I'll look it up on my phone. But then they put another body in there.
Oh, they just reuse them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
They
though.
recycle. They recycle the tombs.
I honestly feel like everybody does though. Like almost every cemetery has to do that at this point. I know that sounds
I don't
morbid.
know. Because up here, depending upon the age of the burial, most of them are put into a vault anymore, concrete vault. It's just if you want a pine box special, then you gotta, that's out. They'll do that, but usually it's the family, and they plant them out underneath the tree out in the back 40.
New Orleans continues to use a unique cemetery tradition, unlimited burials in tombs and plots. Families have used the same tombs in many instances for more than 150
The same
years.
family.
So the same family
It's a
reuses the
family.
same plots.
It's a family.
So-
Family. This is the family
That
burial
would-
plot.
That would be kind of tight though. Bury me in the same tomb as like my
No,
parents.
that puts a whole new criteria on things. Is you can't die yet because we ain't got room.
I can't remember.
We just put Paul in there.
Paul's been in there, Ma. You gotta wait a couple years.
can't go yet.
Oh man, they sitting there on life support, just like a whole vegetable.
I do remember walking in Tennessee out in the woods, finding small graveyards in certain places. Just 3 or 4 people, maybe
yeah.
5, and that's it. And then 10 miles down the road, there's 4 or 5 more. Little
Where?
small graveyards from the 17, 18, 1900s.
Where is this?
A little town called Shelbyville, Tennessee, where I'm originally
Shelbyville,
from. Shelbyville. It's called Shelbyville.
Shelbyville,
Shelbyville.
Shelbyville. You
It's in-
got to
it's in-
run the syllables together.
It's
Shelbyville.
about, gotta do that. It's about 50 miles south of Murfreesboro. So my roots are from the south.
Y'all come out now.
Same.
So
I feel like we missed the topic, but it's okay.
What
My
topic?
family is from. I don't remember. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, definitely bury me under a tree or in the same tomb as my dad. That'd be something epic. Anyhow, my parent or my mom is born and raised in Indianapolis. My dad was born in Danville, Kentucky, but raised in Indianapolis. And then his parents, his dad was born in Demopolis, Alabama, and his mom was born in Kentucky as well, Danville. And my mom's dad was born in Georgia, but grew up in New York. And then her mom was born and raised in Hammond, Louisiana.
How far back can you trace your roots? Can you go back to great grandparents?
Yeah, with the church, they make an emphasis on doing your family tree, and yeah, I got 7 generations on everybody except for my dad's dad. I only go back about 5 generations. So I have my great grandparents' names, my grandfather's grandfather. I got their names.
Were they free men?
Yeah, they were. They lived on a farm that they owned, according to the census, and his grandfather passed it to his dad. His dad, I don't know I don't know the story between that gap or why nobody like stayed and passed it down, but apparently, my grandfather went and did his own thing, started truck driving and doing different types of jobs like that, and ventured his way eventually up to Kentucky. And he was like, yeah, I brought my family with me during that time. I wish I would have interviewed him last time, but anyway, and he's like, yeah, I brought my family up to all these places that I lived, no matter where I was at, and eventually up to Kentucky, met your grandmother, and then had our kids. And he's like, I still wasn't there as much as I wanted to be, and ended up moving everybody up to Indianapolis. And the rest is kind of history. Like, I don't want to ruin my next interview, but I'll just leave it at that.
Do you know when your relatives came to the country itself?
I'm still looking for that. I have 2 lines. My mom's mom, the Louisiana side, and they have they got lineage way back to like England, and
That's what I was wondering if
they got a lot of good lineage. But I was told that occurred because of the Catholic Church in Louisiana and how great those record keepers were. So that's why Louisiana, out of all the places that I've searched, Louisiana by far has the best records I've seen. But then you go next door to like Louisiana.
It's true.
I mean, excuse me. But then, what I was saying was true.
So what you're saying is true
Oh,
about record keeping.
Anywhere,
Record keeping.
other places like Kentucky is decent. It's still hard to find stuff. They're really good at newspaper stuff, like news and stuff like that. They're good at having that type of
Is it true that
Stuff.
a lot of records were kept in Bibles?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, that's
Family,
that's what my
family
grand-
Bibles, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
like
what
family
my
trees and
grandmother
stuff.
told me.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Deaths, weddings,
Give,
everything was kept in a Bible.
give you a little side story that a Jesuit school out east, they had slaves. They needed to raise money, so they sold their slaves to go, and they ended up in Louisiana.
Wait, where? You said a Jesuit school? What's that?
It's a Catholic school.
It's that truck again.
It was I think it was Massachusetts. Not positive. I have to go back and research it some more. But the school has been gotten all kinds of flack about it because of they're supposedly were against it, but yet they had them and then they sold them to somebody in Louisiana.
Wow,
Strange world.
for sure. It's crazy. You go like next door to Alabama, which is really hard. Like those records are rough. Like just, I mean, that's no shade, or no slight, but man, I mean, those record keepers are like, I don't know, non-existent at some point. Like,
I saw a weird one the other day about tracing your roots back. Angela Davis, you ever heard of her?
oh yeah, definitely.
They traced her roots back. When her relatives came over on the Mayflower,
No way.
it blew her mind. She refused to accept the fact that her, as an anti-American, all this stuff, her roots go back to the Mayflower kids coming over.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
I would love to meet her though. That'd be an interesting person to talk to.
Angela Davis.
Yeah. What were the people that you were telling me about the other day that came over to they created basically like that Louisiana French influence Appalachian
The Acadians.
Acadians.
Acadians. Acadians. Acadians from
Yeah.
Acacia in Canada.
Let me write that down. That guy's he's so deep. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry to interrupt
It's
you.
just that's where they came from, and then they became Cajuns. And they married the locals and stuff, and that's where Creole came from. The cross between French cooking and Louisiana cooking.
That's what we call the locals in Kansas, the local yokels, the girls. That's what we call them, locals.
Yeah. So the people who were living down there, the Indian, Native American, and the French. The French had owned New Orleans, Louisiana, and we bought that from the French in 1802. Mr. Jefferson bought that. The Louisiana Purchase. And so all of the French that were there, they started mingling with the Cajuns, and so that's Acadians. And that's how you got the Cajuns and why they speak a French type of. It always amazed me about French.
They got good music too, those Cajuns.
Yeah, I played some for you.
I know.
So if you go to France, you speak French. If you go to Canada, Quebec, they speak French. if you go to Louisiana, they speak French. If you go to the French Indonesia, if you go out into the islands out in the Pacific where they speak French,
What about England?
they don't speak no stinking French. But none of those Frenches, they have a very hard time understanding each other.
Because all their slurred different
It's
ways
all
of
different
Dialects.
dialect.
But if you go in the United States, you can go south and you go to Boston and Maine, New Hampshire, Long Island, all those places. You can still understand English,
Yeah.
but French, it's very difficult. You can't take a Frenchman and put him out in Bali or someplace where they're speaking French out there. They won't know what they're talking. They have a very difficult time understanding each other because French is a hard language anyway. Do you speak French, Mr. Paul?
No, I want to though, so I can retire over there. I wonder if that's where my infatuation with the place comes from. Like it's just genetic. That'd be kind of insane. I gotta trace that.
Yeah, you had maybe your great uncle sliced off.
Yeah, because then
Maybe
they
he ran the guillotine. Next.
Man,
If you meet any French women, I want to meet their mothers. You have good choice. You have good taste. I mean that. Okay.
Next.
Next.
no, that'd be cool to trace though, for sure. I look into that. Like if they came over, went to Canada, and then were a part of that Acadian group, that'd be kind of cool to see. Everybody asks me that, like, when did this happen? When did this happen? I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to like focus on getting the names.
Yeah.
Like the story can come later. Like I'll figure out the story later, but
Yeah.
the names is the hardest part. Like who they were, where, why, when.
Because the English, of course, owned Canada. That became an English colony, but they fought with the French over it for years. There was all these English and French wars back in the 17th.
Seems like the English were fighting with someone all the time for some reason.
well-
I never could understand why, being an Englishman like I am.
Yeah, the French and English wars, French and Indian wars, all back before the Revolution. But then and Canada became all English except for Quebec. Quebec still wants to be a separate province, but that's why Canadian money is, everything's, the money is in French and English.
That one joke about the guillotine, it's really funny. I forgot it was like, I think you told it.
Marie Antoinette, let him eat cake.
It was like a engineer was like lasting a guillotine, and he's like, "Oh wait, if you do this and this to the rope, like if you undo the rope, it'll work." Man, hilarious. Well, we are at over an hour, and want to be respectful of our time.
I enjoyed this. This Bud Light signing off. Thank you, Paul. Mr. Paul, that is.
No problem.
And Deep John, thank you.
You got it, brother. Thank you.
Thank y'all. I appreciate the time, and whew, another really introspective interview. I always appreciate it, and thanks, y'all. Dang, we didn't even get to do our lightning round. My bad. Also, can I get one more? My bad. Wait a second.
Lightning round.
Yes, there's a lightning round. It's only called lightning because the subjects change. Hold on. So let me
That felt good.
let me get to my page real quick. It won't take long. We'll do only a few questions. So let's go with one of my favorites. What was your all time favorite Halloween costume?
We always were three of us that would go trick or treating together. And one year we were the three blind mice, and another year we were the three pigs.
That's dope. Bud deferred to John, but now Bud is right back up.
I built my house out of sticks. Learned my lesson.
What the
real,
hell does that
real
mean?
Quick. That didn't work.
He's talking about the three pigs.
One of the three pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was your costume?
Oh, my favorite costume when I was trick or treating. Oh, Robin Hood.
Oh, that's always a classic.
I didn't rob from anybody, but I did take.
He was after Maid Marian.
That would have worked.
What was your favorite toy as a kid?
Favorite toy?
Favorite toy as a kid?
Cut out of Jane Mansfield, I think. What?
He rubber doll. Trying to,
Deal.
Well, just to tell the truth, right? She was beautiful.
I'm trying to think. Well, when they had in those days, you were still, well, hell, you're still too young. They had the front of the cars the bumpers were called Dagmars. You have to look that up on your silly phone.
Dagmar.
Dagmars. Look up a 55 Buick front bumper. Anyway, that's what they were called in them nowadays. Anyway, my favorite toy. Let's see. Did a lot of roller skating. Did a lot of cowboys and Indians.
Did you like being the cowboy or the Indians?
The Indians always lost. The most fun favorite
I
type
never
thing
lost.
I don't even know what to say to that.
was we played with real guns.
I played with the little girls.
We had a German Mauser rifle, an Italian Beretta rifle, and a Japanese Nimbao machine gun. They were all real guns, no firing pins. This was in Illinois, and the firing pins were in Alabama. But yeah, we'd run around with them things playing. I was playing war. So anyway, Dagmars. You find Dagmar yet?
Oh, yes, I did.
It's a trolley. It's a trolley car, isn't it?
Did you find the 55 Buick?
Yes.
The front end?
It was a police car.
Well, that's just one of them. Look at the, okay, you look at the front end. You see what you see on the front end there?
Yeah.
See those two big
Bumper
bumps
thing.
sticking out? Now, if you look at Dagmar, look up Dagmar. Dagmar.
Just the actual thing?
Just her name, Dagmar.
Sounds like a
She was
perverted toy. of
She was
some
an
kind,
actress.
Dagmar.
Virginia Ruth Jeannie Lewis? 1921?
Well, I don't know how. That's when she was born, or that's when they were.
Born.
Could be.
Dagmar's Canteen?
Well, I don't know about that. Did they have a profile of her? Picture
Yes.
when she's older?
I don't know about older.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Those cars in the 50s with those big protruding bumpers were called Dagmars, and Dagmar was a well-endowed lady.
Oh, I see what they did there. What a time to be alive, huh?
Man.
Oh, Lordy. Okay. Oh, geez. I got distracted. These two, and it'll do it to you. Okay, we'll leave with this. What would be your entrance music / theme song?
Mickey Mouse.
Hey there,
Mickey
hi there, oh
Mouse.
there, you're as welcome as can be. And
M-I-C.
we sang that one in the nom.
K-E-Y.
M-I-C-K-M-O-U-S-E.
Mickey Mouse.
Donald Duck,
Mickey Mouse.
Donald Duck. Forever let us hold our
Banner
banner
high.
high.
Yay, yay, yay.
Come along and
It's
sing our
happening
song and
right
join
now.
the family.
Mickey Mouse. Yay, Annette.
Wow. I was trying to look it up, but I don't even want to. Bug, what would be your
Huh?
I can't deal. Are y'all both going with the same song?
Really?
I don't know. What would be your I'm sorry, that threw me way off. And then y'all both started singing it.
I liked Annette too. She was great.
What?
She was buxom.
I love protruding. I loved it. There's
I
that
don't
word
know
again.
who this is or what y'all talking about.
Annette Funicello.
Oh yeah.
One of the Mouseketeers.
Annette
Oh.
Cello.
Mickey Mouse is really,
With Uncle Jimmy and Uncle Roy.
I don't know what's happening right now.
Jimmy Dodd and
I wish I could find this original Mickey Mouse song that they singing.
oh yeah, you gotta be. That's gotta be on that magic phone somewhere.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse song. Mickey Mouse Club song. It's a Mickey Mouse Club.
Has it changed yet though?
No, it's still a Mickey Mouse Club song. Been there forever.
I mean, you know they might have like an updated rendition of it.
Oh, you can probably find the original on that phone somewhere.
Find it in Romper Room. I used to go to watch Romper Room on TV
You were after Miss Francis, weren't you?
most of the time.
I don't know. Let's see. We'll see if this is it. I'm not sure.
This portion of your Mickey Mouse Club is brought to you by your
Yeah, give,
Huh?
friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, that's why you call me the Pepsi generation.
Coming at you, growing strong.
Brought to you by the ABC Television Network 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
let's see. It should be there.
It's funny. The ABC.
Coming.
ABC. Jeez.
Leader.
K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Donald Duck. Mickey Mouse. Donald Duck. Hi, 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 hi. M-O-C, K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
Oh, Annette, where are you now?
That was the Mickey Mouse Club 1960s intro, if you
Oh,
curious.
Annette.
And they did that without looking at the video, which coincides with those lyrics. Hilarious. 4.7 million views in 13 years. Whew. All right, I'm signing us out after that.
It was fun, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ben.
Good
Peace.
times. Good times.